So this is my 2020 Oscar predictions video. As you can see, I've got a shirt and tie, so I'm taking this a bit more seriously. So let's start with Best Picture, and the nominees for that are Ford v Ferrari, which I haven't seen, The Irishman, Jojo Rabbit, Joker, Little Women, Marriage Story, 1917, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and Parasite. Now, personally, my favourite film of this lot is probably 1917. It just hits on every level possible in film production. I mean, it's just an alright, thrilling, gripping, wondrous experience. I say wondrous, it's pretty awful to watch, because you're just always clenching for the entire film. I said I was going to take this more seriously. I got a tie. But yeah, I think that will win Best Film, and I think it'll be deserving of it. So that is my first choice. Now the next category I'm going to be guessing on is Best Actor in a Leading Role, with a bit of rap hands. Now, yeah, Joker's going to win this one. Joaquin Phoenix is going to take this home. He's won every single award so far. He's great in this film. It's probably the #1 accolade it deserves. So yeah, Joker, Joaquin Phoenix. As for actor in a supporting role, we've got Tom Hanks in A Beautiful Day in the Neighborhood, Anthony Hopkins in The Two Popes, Al Pacino and Joe Pesci for The Irishman, and Brad Pitt for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Now personally, I'd give this to Al Pacino in The Irishman. He was great in it throughout his entire character arc. But yeah, part of me thinks Tom Hanks or Brad Pitt might win this, and I have no idea which way it's gonna go. So because I don't know, I'm gonna go with Al Pacino. For actress in a supporting role, got Kathy Bates in Richard Jewell, Margot Robbie in Bombshell, Florence Pugh in Little Women, Scarlett Johansson in Jojo Rabbit, and Laura Dern in Marriage Story. Again, no idea who's going to win this. Talented list of people. I feel like Scarlett Johansson's going to take it. I feel like Laura Dern's probably the more deserving taker of the two. But personally, I loved Florence Pugh's performance in Little Women. I think it was great. So, Team Florence. Now for cinematography, which is a very hard category, you've got Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, The Irishman, Joker, you also have The Lighthouse and 1917. Now for the sheer difficulty of making 1917 from a cinematography point of view, it's 1917. That is just going to win clear out for the one continuous shot, sequence, feel, vibe, the way they captured which is Roger Deakins, by the way. That is the name of the cinematographer for that one. Costume design, again, another hard category. The Irishman, Jojo Rabbit, Little Women, Joker, and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood as well. But Little Women's costume design is the one that is... I still remember what those characters look like in their costume, aside from every other film. I know some of those other films had like classy costumes as well. The Joker had a very iconic costume in that one, but Little Women captured the essence of each character with each costume. So Little Women, which is, yeah, Jacqueline Duran. She's the one. She's the one. For Best Director, you've got Sam Mendes for 1917, Martin Scorsese for The Irishman, Todd Phillips for Joker, Bong Joon-ho for Parasite, and Quentin Tarantino for Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. I've seen all of these films. They're all really well directed. But again, for the same reason I gave the Cinematography Award to 1917, I'm going to give the Director Award to Sam Mendes 1917. I mean, that film was solid to make, and they did it well, they told the story well, and I was just gripped through the entirety of it. So let's go into Best Film Editing, which is an award I probably won't win for the cuts in this video. You've got Ford v Ferrari, The Irishman, Jojo Rabbit, Joker, and Parasite. I mean, this one's hard, because the one that's been winning so far is Ford v Ferrari, and I've not seen that film. It's the only one I haven't seen in that list. So based on the films I have seen, Parasite, there were several sequences in that film which just were told so beautifully from the editing. It made it suspenseful, it made it intense. You also knew exactly what each character was doing at any given moment, and you could feel it. It showed the right things at the right time. It was well paced together and pieced together. I think that's what I was meant to say, pieced and well paced. Best Original Music Award. Nominees are Joker, Little Women, Marriage Story, 1917, and The Rise of Skywalker, Star Wars. I mean, based on the fact that I remember that one scene of the Joker dancing and the musical melody through it, I'm going to give it to Joker. For production design, you got The Irishman, Jojo Rabbit, 1917, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and also Parasite. Yeah, again, 1917 for the production design. That goes to that one. For sound editing, you've got Ford v Ferrari, Joker, 1917, Star Wars, The Rise of Skywalker, and Once Upon a Time in Hollywood. Yeah, I ain't got a clue. Ford v Ferrari, which again, I haven't seen, but yeah, it's probably gonna win. For visual effects, you've got Avengers Endgame, Star Wars Rise of Skywalker, The Lion King, The Irishman, and 1917. Personally, I'd give it to The Irishman. They de-aged him without any kind of mocap or dots or tracking. It was all done handmade with special camera effects. It was a new tech pushing forward. But honestly, I think 1917 is going to win this one because it's 1917. Adapted screenplay nominees: The Irishman, Jojo Rabbit, Joker, Little Women, and The Two Popes. But for me, it's Little Women. I mean, I've not really been into that story before, and that took me into it, and I felt all the story beats, and it was told in a new way, so I feel like it was adapted very much for a 2020 style audience, like myself. Now for original screenplay, you got Knives Out, you got Marriage Story, 1917, Once Upon a Time in Hollywood, and Parasite. All those films are very well written, but personally for me, I think Knives Out had a watertight script. I really love that script. It was great. I enjoyed it. And yeah, that is it. My after party time. Tie can go off, that can be just left on the floor. And yeah, that's the sign, it's the end of the video. It is not a sign that I'm about to strip.